Hello, my name is Omar Rampersad. It's Saturday, March 30th, 2019 at 12:47 p.m. in Toronto. So I posted a video just now that was taken last night as I was being tortured, basically. And take a look at my face now. And if you go back to the video, the very last video I tweeted, and take a look at that face. This face that you're looking at is the shielded version. I put a piece of metal over my face. I had magnets on the metal. It rejuvenates the flow of the blood in the area that's affected. I also shielded my head, although I did get up with a headache and an earache. So that's the difference between shielding and non-shielding. Um, Sometimes I fall asleep as regular people without shielding, and I get up in excruciating pain with the high blood pressure readings, high heart rate, my microwave detector just going crazy on me as I demonstrated on the video. So I am still being pulsed this way. Um, my leg, my leg, the jaw, around the breast, the chin. And I started going gray when I was about 22 years old. So I'm going to take a guess and say that I was being harassed this way starting about that time. My head was being pulsed, which causes premature grayness, premature graying, I should say, because what it does is it kills the cells responsible for producing the color in the hair. It kills the cells in the follicle of the hair, the root of the hair. So that would explain my graying. Of course, gray is in vogue these days, so it really doesn't bother me as much. So I am being pulsed. I'm still in pain. So this is what happens when you're flagged and the account goes global. You're constantly logged in. Now, earlier on, I'm suspecting that I was intermittently logged in, although I was being tracked. But now, when it goes global and it's absoluted based on the reports that's being piggybacked on from the initial flag based on lies. So this was a conspiracy based on lies. So the initial flag was based on setup frames and lies. And once that flag went into place, reports started generating, and the reports were piggybacked on to make you look like you're mentally ill or sound like you're mentally ill, or to charge you with a crime you did not commit, frame you, and put you away, basically. Because as time went on, I started becoming more and more aware, and I started talking and blogging. So the radiation, the power of the radiation increased, and the harassment escalated. So the harassment is, of course, in the workplace. It's in my family, because my family believed the reports. And right now, right at this moment, I am updated with comments that neighbors are saying outside their window that I could hear because mine are open, and it is getting warmer, so people are opening up their windows. So Rick has the account, and a neighbor is subcontracting, and he's logged in as well. Um, the son, and there are a lot of sons in this building who are involved in this. is logging into me, and he wants, quote unquote, me. He's customizing, quote unquote, me. And that would explain the pulsing between the legs and what happened last night, as an example. And these people, of course, are subcontracting to their friends, their family, and their network. So their network follows me around, which is exactly what I was reporting to the cops. Men are following me around. I went to 4 police stations years ago, uh, telling them that men are following me around, and I was told that I was mentally ill or referred to get help. So this is all in my head, presumably. However, there was a flag next to my name, and that flag was public. So the outsourcing of the monitoring made it public. So there is a group of people who are just waiting for that flag, a predatory group of people, so they could take advantage of the flag. Because once you're flagged, then you're targeted, and your life has no value, and anyone can do anything to you and get away with it because it's all covered and it's all fixed. So, um, people who wants to prey on others will take advantage of this. So, my family, my now deceased brother, instead of telling me what was going on, decided to take advantage of it and to take my property away because he knew that my life had no value. So, I am to be sacrificed, the satanic term that is being used. So he decided, instead of helping me and telling me what's going on, to take my property away. So he committed fraud, and this is what I'm being harassed with, and had me declared based on fraudulent documents. And of course, the people who are involved in this declaration are all taking part in the program, taking part in the conspiracy. The doctors, the court personnel, just like the court personnel who offered stewardship to strangers who had just happened to be Muslim. These court personnel know about the targeting because once you're flagged, everybody knows. This is the nature of being a target. Everybody knows. So my family decided, my brother, now deceased brother, decided to take my property away. So I'm harassed with comments because, of course, no disclosure because I'm a target, and he doesn't have to tell me. In fact, just the opposite. He has to set me up and frame me and lie to me and bamboozle me. So of course he's not going to disclose it. So any claims as to disclosure from anybody in my family are lies because they are taking part in the targeting. So whatever documents that exist in any file that follows me in workplaces and so on, and who are contracting with my or did contract with my now deceased brother, or are contracting with my sister-in-law, or any member of her family, or anybody who's working with her, the file that they're basing these comments on is based on fraud. Anything that has to do with my property is based on fraud. If they're saying that I am mentally ill and I signed off documents, well, if they declared me, of course, I'm not going to be able to sign the document, so he'll sign it for me. That's where the fraud took place, because I was never really mentally ill. So this is the part of the fraud. And the non-disclosure, of course, is part of the fraud. While I was staying with my brother, I was working at 2 jobs. So there was no mental illness. Um, so right now, Rick is from the comments I'm hearing. Rick, who was working at Give and Go, joined me, and he was working with my sister-in-law, who had the file, who had the receipt for me, and who is registering me back into the system with the reports that's submitted from the people who she's contracting with to surveil me, lie on me, tell lies on me, set me up, frame me, run tests on me, run experiments on me, and submit the results. So what actually happens is while running the experiment, they're inciting my anger, inciting violence towards me. I'm stalked, I'm harassed, I'm verbally abused. This is all part of the experiment, and the result any reaction to that is then recorded and reported as signs of mental illness. This is how I'm being framed in my home and in the workplace. And I suspect at my sister in law's house when I stayed with her, I heard that a camera was placed inside my bedroom and I was recorded masturbating, and this video is being used to pussify me, in other words, sexualize me, because I'm being pimped out, sold remotely to people like Rick, who accesses me inside of my home as these signals are showing, and remotely rape you when these signals are between your legs. So this is where it's at right now. So Rick is joining me right now, I heard, and he's contracting with people in the building to take turns, a new team, or maybe more than one team, if it's global. And at any given point, more than one person is logged into me, which is why I'm constantly in pain right throughout the night. And they record me every single minute of my day, of my life in the building, is recorded and discussed by the teams from the building, and reports are generated and submitted to the cops to further flag me. So right now I'm flagged for stealing, I heard. I stole long beans from my sister-in-law's garden. Well, at the time I was under the impression that I was family and I wasn't really stealing, because I was told by my brother that I could take long beans from the garden. So this is one of the many, many lies that my sister-in-law is said about me, and twisted reality, what's real, into making it look like I'm doing something wrong. I also heard that I had my finger in my brother's behind. Again, something that would never happen, ever, 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 ever happen. I would never even, I mean, the thought wouldn't even occur. It's not, it's beyond, it's just so outside my realm of thinking. It just shocks me that she would say something like this. The truth is, my sister-in-law would put medication, apply medication. My sister-in-law would do that. She's the one who does this. So my brother, who is on medication and low oxygen because he takes a tank with him anywhere he goes, so sometimes the oxygen level drops. He's highly medicated. He's he's on dialysis. He's in pain. So really, he was medically certifiable. So he has no credibility. He had no credibility if he said something like this. So really, what had happened is the sister-in-law is telling him what to say, basically, because he was extremely, extremely vulnerable. So and she was looking after him. She was the prime caregiver. He was dependent on her. So he was coerced to say the things that he did. The sister-in-law is lying, out and out lying. But Rick, who is subcontracting from the sister-in-law, is washing me out in this satanic twist to this whole targeting program. So washing it out means that when I go in public, these comments that are made by my sister-in-law, as one example, many others do the same in workplaces and so on. But let's talk about the sister-in-law. These comments that she's making are made public, and then I'm harassed outside about presumably what I did and said while I was living with her. All lies and all twisted. Even I'm lying on the ground, rolling around. That's twisted to me to make it look like something's wrong with me and it's something sexual, when really what I do is my yoga exercises on the floor as I do at home. So the sister-in-law is lying, and it's just one of the many, 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 many examples of others like her who are telling lies in this building. So why am I being flagged by the cops? That's a really good question. Since the cops know that the gangs are actually taking part in the contracting and the stalking and the collection of misinformation? Well, the dirty cops who are doing this are trafficking. That's the answer. It's just plain as that. They're trafficking because they're dirty cops. I suspect that Rohini Besasa was trafficked this way. I said this before. And she most likely was being hit with these signals. And her anger incited, and probably, I'm suspecting, the Juno person who unfortunately died from a knife that was really small. I heard, although I didn't, I read, although I don't know exactly what the length of it was. But it's, I guess the person died as a result of that action. Whatever happened after that was a direct result of that action. So really, um, you, technically you could say that Besasa killed the person. Um, but even though she committed the act, if she was triggered into doing it, if she was being hit with lasers and microwaves at the time, and before that, experimented with, if she was being stalked and triggered by Juno and others in the store, is she really responsible for the action? Is she, well, what I should say is, are others responsible for the action? Although she did it, her hands did it, but did she do it? Did she really commit the crime, or did the person who drove her to do it commit the crime? It's a really good question. So if she was temporarily insane at the time that she committed the crime, then is she insane right now? But my point is, these are all questions that could be asked in a courtroom. My question is, what happened before that incident took place? What happened in Rohini Besasa's life that may be in parallel with what's going on in this situation and other situations as well, and in other situations like Helen Curdin's situation, where she got on the YouTube saying much the same thing. Again, calling Chinese harassers. She was living in a Chinese person's home at the time in the basement. What happened in Rohini Besasa's life prior to that? When she reported hearing voices, was detectives placed around her body to find out whether she was being experimented with? No, she was automatically diagnosed. And probably she wasn't aware of the technologies that could be used to make you hear voices. She probably wasn't aware that she was being trafficked. Now, I'm aware that I'm being trafficked because all these people are joining me and harassing me about it. And what happened in my brother's case is proof that something is going on. There is documents to prove this, but it's not been disclosed to me because it's not supposed to be disclosed to me. Talk to you another time.